So, I was taking my walk today and thinking so much about what it is I want to bring to the world. Um, I have a son that had a very, very challenging time. Um, since he was born, he was extremely sensitive to sounds. I couldn't run the vacuum. And since he was my first, I just thought, wow, he's really doesn't like the vacuum cleaner. Um, and then as things progressed and he went into preschool, it was very obvious to me that it was more than just a sensitivity. It was um, it was interfering with him functioning at school in groups. He's just extremely intense, overreactive, and everyone kept saying um, in my family that maybe it was just me, maybe I was making more out of it than it was. Yet I was getting feedback from preschool teachers saying, no, he's really, really having a hard time, and he cries, and he's just so extreme. So I pushed forward, and he went to a Waldorf kindergarten, and every day I sat in the yard and waited for them to send him out, and we would water the garden together because he couldn't do circle. He couldn't be in a group doing the hand movements. It literally looked painful to him. It was like running his nails down a chalkboard, covering his ears, um, disturbing the whole group, and unable to be there. And the only way he could be there was if he could be sent out to be with me. So I spent a lot of time in the kindergarten yard. He finished out in kindergarten that year at the Waldorf school, and I decided for a second year of kindergarten, because they do a 2-year kindergarten program at the Waldorf school. For the second year, we would go ahead and try public school. That lasted 5 months. And most of that, he was home with me towards the end. The teachers, I kind of waited for them to come to me and see if anything was different. I didn't want to give them any background, nothing to look for. I just wanted to wait and see what came up. And, they came to me within 2 days and said, is there anything we need to know? And I said, well, and I gave them the history of his sensitivities, his overreaction, his intensity, obsessive issues. And they had people come in to do evaluations. We got the pre-IEP stuff in public school, which consisted of a huge packet. And in the packet, everything was checked off. High risk, high risk, high risk, high risk. And as a mother, what do you do with the stack of paperwork that is basically meaningless to you unless you have a degree in this field? It all told me he was either going to be in prison or kill himself. And he started to tell the teachers in kindergarten that he wanted to kill himself. He was 5. At that point, my options were few. I could go ahead and keep him in the system, which would be the easiest choice. Everything's taken care of for you. You get your special ed or whatever the next steps were. You filter him through. And that didn't sound like an option I wanted to choose. I felt like that would be extremely painful for my son, who was already struggling. And I had begged the teachers since kindergarten, the Waldorf school, you really have to make this work. I cannot be sent home with this child. This is just, I wasn't cut out for homeschooling. But that was my choice. I could feed him through the system, most likely use medication, or I could bring everything down a few notches. He had stopped swallowing his food. His anxiety was so high. And no, I never went to college. I don't have a degree, but I really had to use my own intuition on this. And I think as women, we are born with intuition that we're taught to ignore after a while. And we give so much power to others, the professionals. We give so much power away. And I had all the information. Now it was up to me to separate that and trust what was inside. So I decided to pull him out of school and homeschool him. No, I had never thought I would do this. And as a matter of fact, I didn't have much support. My family probably thought I was crazy. I had comments like, well, how are you going to homeschool? You didn't go to college. And I was like, he's in kindergarten. I think I've learned pretty well how to tie my shoes, and I've learned how to bake. I think I can make this happen. And I'm one of those kind of people that the more someone tells me I can't do something, the more I'm just going to do it. So out of stubbornness and also out of sheer will to make things healthier for my son, I chose to homeschool. It was time to calm things down for him, and within a week, it was 100 times better. He was happy, and my goal isn't so much to make sure my kids go to college even. And my goal is that their self-esteem is intact, that they're happy people who can follow their path, make choices, be creative, be loving. I don't need them funneled through a system. And so this was the choice that I made. This was the choice that was best for us. He is now, after 3 years of homeschooling, successfully at the Waldorf School. And he still has his challenges, but nothing like before. And I think it had a lot to do with taking on my role as his mother, to not give my power away. We chose this. We chose to have these children. There are no mistakes. And if we get quiet enough and listen to our inner voices, our intuitions, these children can teach us so much about ourselves. I never, ever envisioned that I'd be strong enough to do what I did. And not only was I strong enough, but I did it really well. And he's very happy. Like I said, not without flaws. It's not a perfect situation, but then what is? And I've learned so much out of it that I want to share my story with other women who are struggling and just don't know where to turn and feel like they've lost their power or they've given it away. We don't really lose it, we give it away. And we all need to get our intuition back. Trust it. More times than not, it's correct. And it's not to say that you shouldn't get all the information in order, which I did. It's just a matter of what to do with that information. Are we choosing the easier path? Do we want to have the really expensive cars? Do we want to have the really expensive house? Well, those are all choices. They're not have-tos. And we choose to live a more simple life now as far as the size of our home. And we shop really cheaply so that our kids can be in a school that supports them in the way that we want. So these are all choices that we need to feel empowered around. They're not have-tos. I don't like have-tos. I don't do have-tos very well. So that's my goal. Help moms make the choices they need to make to have a healthy home life for them and their children, to feel good about the choices that they're making and not feel that they're being forced into situations